Winter weather can strike in a moment's notice.
You don't really expect it, but it goes white out of nowhere.
But sometimes it seems like winter can be a hit or miss here in the Susquehanna Valley.
It's either going to be snow or we just get rain. We don't usually get the in-between.
Sometimes we can get a real doozy.
Tonight, we look at the most impactful winter storms and how you can help keep your family safe this winter. The News 8 Storm Team has you covered.
Welcome to the WGAL News 8 Storm Team Winter Weather Outlook. I'm Chief Meteorologist Christine Ferreira here with the Storm Team at Lancaster County Central Park.
Winter weather will be here before we know it, and we're here to keep you informed.
We take you across the Susquehanna Valley, looking at how elevation can impact snow totals, how airports and dairy farms deal with winter weather, and more.
But first, we start in Schuylkill County, where over 2 years ago, a deadly snow squall caused a pileup that killed 6 people. News 8's Ann Shannon spoke to one of the survivors.
I was hearing loud bangs and explosions, and then I saw the smoke. That was the one thing I could see, was black smoke from the tractor trailer.
So I knew there was a lot happening around me.
Lily Weaver remembers the day well.
Yes.
On March 28, 2022, the Bloomsburg University student was heading back to school on Interstate 81.
It started to flurry a little. I thought nothing of it.
In minutes, a snow squall moved over the interstate, icing the roadway and creating whiteout conditions.
I was in the right lane, thankfully, and I started to slide to the right into the bank. I was actually missed by a tractor trailer that went and hit the car directly in front of me.
I'm gonna check out the action over here.
Next thing you know, one call after another and after another after another.
Scott Crater is 911 director. He immediately knew it was bad.
Inundated. I mean, it was for probably 2.5 hours, was just nonstop. So you pick one up, put one down, pick another one up.
6 people died in the fiery 80-car pileup.
It's something that we obviously never want to see again.
The Schuylkill County Emergency Management Agency works to help disseminate National Weather Service warnings. They held a debrief after the crash. Director John Blickley says they're applying what they've learned.
You know, we've seen some improvements on PennDOT's side with the variable speed message boards that they have now. So that kind of goes from Lebanon County all the way up into Luzerne County through Schuylkill.
Blickley hopes the signs, which can remotely lower the speed limit, become permanent. He's also in favor of cell phone carriers working with the National Weather Service to send wireless emergency alerts.
I think you'll see more of that as, we go on with these type of incidents.
Above all, he wants motorists to take snow squall warnings seriously.
Maybe deciding not to travel that day, or if you actually see a warning, make sure that you get off the roadway right away, or if you're already at home, stay at home.
And anytime I see snow or inclement weather, I kind of just either put off driving or pull off till it goes away.
Lily knows. The 5-minute squall ended up closing Interstate 81 for 40 hours. And for many, it's had a lasting impact.
So lucky, so blessed by the whole thing, really.
Ann Shannon, WGAL News 8.
Thanks, Ann. The National Weather Service says by far, snow squalls are the deadliest form of winter weather. Over 800 people have died on the roads between 1996 and 2011. Meteorologist Ethan Houston continues our coverage in Lebanon County.
Snow squalls are intense, short-lived bursts of heavy snow. They can put down 2 inches of snow in just 30 minutes. They are accompanied by gusty winds, which can cause the snow to blow around. This combination quickly reduces visibility, leading to whiteout conditions. Often because of the heavy snow and strong winds, temperatures plummet, leading to a flash freeze. Roads can go from dry to icy in a matter of minutes. John Bangoff of the National Weather Service says these temperature drops can be staggering.
So you're talking sometimes as high as 30 degrees of a temperature drop.
This quick freeze above the roadway can lead to large pileup accidents, and these accidents can be deadly.
Like here on I-78 in Bethel Township, Lebanon County. In 2016, a squall moved over the highway, resulting in a 64-car pileup. More than 70 people were injured and 3 people died.
Once roads are frozen over, it can take vehicles 10 times the normal distance to come to a full stop. For a semi-truck traveling at highway speeds, that could take half a mile. A snow squall warning may be issued for areas in the path of the squall. Warnings are typically short-lived, and if you're in the warned area, you may receive an emergency alert on your cell phone. So what do you do if you encounter a snow squall on the highway? The National Weather Service advises you to take the nearest exit off the highway or pull over where it's safe, like in a parking lot or in a driveway. Ethan Houston, WGAL News 8.
Thanks, Ethan. And remember, when you're in the path of a snow squall, find a safe place to get off the road. And when a winter storm is headed our way, some parts of the Susquehanna Valley may get hit hard with snow, and some may miss out. Meteorologist Mary Ellen Pan explains the challenges that come into play.
During snow events here in the lower Susquehanna Valley, we often see a wide range of snow totals. Do you want to know why? In part, it's due to the big elevation changes from southeast to northwest. For example, I'm here in Little Britain, southern Lancaster County. We are only 115 feet above sea level, and that means typically we see a rain-snow mix often or miss out on snow altogether. Why? As you go up in elevation, temperatures go down, meaning it gets colder the higher you go in elevation.
A lot of times, it seems like the counties north of us get a little worse snow. Right here on the Maryland-PA line, we kind of seem like we dodge a lot of the bad storms.
Here in Dillsburg, York County, we are 659 feet above sea level. Remember, the higher you go in elevation, the colder the temperature. So in a majority of snow events, we typically see more snow and less mixing.
It will snow here in Dillsburg and have nothing at all when you get south of the Turnpike area, and it'll be completely dry.
Right behind me is Buffalo Mountain near Newport Perry County. The elevation is 1,348 feet above sea level. That means it is almost always cold enough for pure snow in most snowstorms.
We get whiteouts up here. Well, I know the mountains, like Buffalo Mountain, that'll get snow, and it'll hold it after the valley range and everything like that melts. The snow will stay in there.
So while there are many factors that go into snow forecasting, elevation is one of the most important considerations, and now you see why. I'm meteorologist Mary Ellen Pan for the News 8 Storm Team.
Thanks, Mary Ellen. Well, in the Susquehanna Valley, we've had some historic storms. One of the biggest was the blizzard of 1993. Retired meteorologist Joe Calhoun takes a look from Cumberland County.
They called it the storm of the century, the blizzard of 1993. On March 13, 1993, nearly 40 inches of snow fell here in Mechanicsburg. Officially at Harrisburg International Airport, the total was 20.4 inches. I remember that number as our assistant news director at the time on that Saturday morning asked me what I thought we could get. I told him 20 inches. He posted that in his office. Sunday morning, when the snow ended, I took the official report off the printer and posted the 20.4 inches on his bulletin board. Doug Allen, Matt Ritter, and I checked into the Hotel Channel 8 on Saturday morning. We didn't leave until Monday. What made the storm so impactful was its winds that caused blizzard conditions. Winds that Saturday evening were 20 to 30 miles an hour with gusts over 40 miles an hour. That caused drifts of several feet. There was even lightning and thunder at the height of the storm. But the blizzard of 93 wasn't the most snow we ever had. That came in January of 2016, 30.2 inches.
Thanks, Joe. Our winter weather outlook continues next. We'll show you the impact winter weather can have on farming, plus how you can prevent common fires this winter after the break. Welcome back to the Winter Weather Outlook. As the weather changes, local farmers are preparing for the season. News 8's Ann Shannon spoke to a Cumberland County dairy farmer.
We milk 80 cows every day, twice a day.
At Destiny Dairy Bar near Carlisle, Cumberland County, owner Amy Brickner and her team are always busy. As the weather changes, they work to make sure all the cows are cozy.
Every day, all they do is eat, sleep, and make milk, and we try to make them as comfortable as possible.
That means closing the barn just enough to allow fresh air inside, while still making sure the cows have dry bedding and the water troughs don't freeze. It's much the same in the nursery barn where the youngest animals stay.
So we have these awesome calf blankets that will stay with them from birth till they're about 2 months old, till they outgrow them, and it just helps maintain that core temperature.
Still,
you won't hear a dairy farmer complain if we get snow, a good bit of snow, and it stays around for a while.
Amy says it would cut down on the number of pests and would also provide much needed moisture.
We were in a drought over winter last year. Thought we were going to get out of it a little bit in the spring, and then it just kind of hit us again this year.
Ann Shannon, WGAL, News 8.
Thanks, Ann. Snow is important to farmers because it acts as a natural insulator, protecting winter crops from extreme cold, also providing a slow-release source of moisture for plants in the spring when it melts. And from the fields to the sky, weather has a major impact on air travel during the winter months. Meteorologist Ethan Houston is at Harrisburg International Airport.
Even before the first flakes or ice pellets of a winter storm fall, a team of workers at the Harrisburg International Airport prepared to keep the runway and airport running smoothly as possible.
If it's wet snow, dry snow, ice, slush, that really affects the performance of aircraft.
Ryan Johnson is the operations manager at the airport and says wintry precipitation is monitored closely as it falls.
We actually have pucks in the runway that provide us the surface temp. What we're really looking to do is going to see what that precipitation is going to do when it hits the ground. You know, is it going to freeze? Is it not going to freeze?
That's when Jamie Sides, the deputy director of maintenance of HIA, and his team of dozens of workers spring into action.
We use just about every piece of equipment that we have in our shop here, from the just regular plow trucks to the broom that's behind me. We also have plow trucks with brooms attached to them, all the way up to the snow blowers.
Sides' team has a massive amount of pavement to cover. Harrisburg International Airport's runway is about 2 miles long. Sides says just one down and back pass for his 40-foot wide plow can take at least 15 minutes. The airport also has de-icing trucks to remove ice or prevent ice from forming on the runway or on planes.
Any type of air icing buildup on an airplane will change the physics of the airplane, basically. So it may not fly how it's supposed to, it might weigh it down, so it's not going to get the proper lift.
That's Jennifer Struzis of the Aviation Weather Center. She and a team of meteorologists from the Aviation Weather Center send out alerts similar to severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings if conditions are hazardous for flying at various altitudes. Struzis says besides the threat of icing, turbulence is a big issue for winter travel.
Turbulence outside of thunderstorms is driven by strong winds where there's a change in wind direction or wind speed. So when we get to the time of year where the jet stream starts to shift into North America, that's really the driver for winter weather turbulence.
From the takeoff to touchdown and from the ground to the sky, there are many crews watching the weather to keep air travel running as safely and smoothly as possible. Ethan Houston, WGAL, News 8.
Thanks, Ethan. Now to keeping your family safe this winter. News 8's Jake Reyes talked to a Susquehanna Valley fire chief about the most common mistakes people make in their homes.
I'm Jake Reyes at the East Petersburg Fire Company, and we want to talk to you about electrical heater fire safety as well as improper use of electrical cords. Now I have Jamie Rohr here with me. He's the fire chief of the East Petersburg Fire Company. Jamie, talk about this demonstration you have in front of us.
So what we have today is in front of us, we have a residential portable heater that's plugged into the improper extension cord. We want to show you what happens when you use the wrong cord.
Yeah, just looking at that thermal scanner, right now, it's not seeming too white on there, but I understand that that can heat up pretty quickly. So what are some tips out there that you have for people in cooling down these electrical cords?
When you're using extension cords, make sure you're using the proper size cords. They're not being used underneath rugs and everything, because as you'll see when we look at this with the thermal imager again, the cord's going to get very hot.
Yeah, we know that's a common reason why these fires even start. So just looking at that thermal scanner one more time, you can see that that cord is now turning white. So that means there's a lot of heat that is traveling down that electrical cord. So you do want to be careful with that. So that's another tip for you. And if you do have a fireplace, make sure you clean that out as well, as that can also start fires. Reporting in East Petersburg, Jake Reyes, WGAL News 8.
Thank you, Jake. Our winter weather outlook continues next. We'll look at another historic storm that dumped a lot of snow in the Susquehanna Valley. And are you looking for a fun activity to do with the kids? We'll teach you how to properly measure snow. That and much more coming up right after the break. Welcome back to the Winter Weather Outlook. We haven't seen a lot of snow over the past few years, but nearly 3 decades ago, that was a different story. Retired meteorologist Joe Calhoun takes us back.
We've all heard the folklore. Farm Show Week is synonymous with bad winter weather, but 1996 had to be the worst. 19.8 inches of snow fell on January 7th. That was a Sunday. It caused about 1,800 folks to have to sleep at the farm show. They called it Pennsylvania's biggest pajama party. But that wasn't it. Snow fell 4 more days that week, with 10.8 inches of snow finally coming on Friday for a total for the week of 35.2 inches, the most snow we ever had in 1 week. But it got even worse later that month.
It all started on Friday. The formula for disaster: 3 feet of snow, heavy rain, and temperatures in the mid-50s.
We warmed to 56 degrees on the 19th, followed by an inch or more of rain throughout the Susquehanna River Basin, leading to ice jams and flooding. Blocks of ice as big as boxcars crashed into the Walnut Street Bridge in Harrisburg, causing it to collapse.
Thanks, Joe. And hey, parents, if you're looking for a DIY project with your kids this winter, we've got you covered. Meteorologist Ryan Argenti shows us how to build a snowboard and properly measure snow.
Thanks, Christine. So the project I'm going to lead you guys through is what's called a snowboard. You're going to want to get yourself a 2x2 piece of plywood. Make sure it's a 1/2 inch thick, and also make sure the one side is painted white. It'll help minimize the amount of snow melt. The other things that you're going to want to get are these 4 driveway markers and also this yardstick. Step 2, look for an open area with no obstructions, like this one. Step 3, mark your snowboard. And now step 4, we wait for the snow. Now step 5, we're going to measure the snow. Now when you go to measure the snow, make sure the yardstick is flush with the snowboard, and you want to report this to the nearest 1/10 of an inch for your official reporting. I'm Ryan Argenti, WGAL News 8.
Thanks, Ryan. And our winter weather outlook continues next. We'll take a look back at last year's winter and the question you've all been asking: how much snow will we get this year? I'll have that answer right after the break. Welcome back to the Winter Weather Outlook. Well, if you're a snow lover, the past few years, they've been disappointing. Meteorologist Mike Susko takes a look back at last year's numbers.
Hi, I'm Mike Susko, and last year was extremely warm for the Susquehanna Valley during the winter months. In fact, our average temperature was 38.1 degrees, and our average that we should have been was 33.7. It was the 5th warmest winter season on record, with the highest temperature being 62 degrees. Now, that really impacted our snow totals. Last year, we only had 18.7 inches. That is below what we should have got, which is 27 inches of snow. Our biggest snowstorm was just before Valentine's Day on February 13th. That storm produced 7.7 inches of snow. And as you take a look at the monthly snow totals last year, notice November, December, and March, only a trace. Our snowiest month was January with 9.7 inches, February right behind it at 9 inches on the dot. All that made for the 3rd straight winter with below average snowfall. The big question is, will this year be another year with below average snowfall? For that, let's go to Chief Meteorologist Christine Ferreira.
All right, it is time for the all-important winter weather forecast. The first thing we look at is the phase of ENSO, or El Niño Southern Oscillation. This winter, we are looking for a La Niña to develop. There's about a 57% chance that a La Niña emerges. Right now, we're neutral, but we are seeing those blue boxes indicating a La Niña over the next few months. The question is, how strong is La Niña? Here's a bunch of computer models predicting the strength of the teleconnection, and you can see that they're neutral to weak. So we're not looking at a moderate, and we're certainly not looking at a strong La Niña this year. So what is La Niña? It's marked as below average temperatures off the coast of South America near the equator, and that tends to lead to a weaker southern jet stream. So we don't get those big juicy storms coming up from the south like we typically do in an El Niño setup. Instead, we get an active Pacific jet stream, which brings mild storms west to east across the country, leading to wetter than average conditions in the Great Lakes and warm and slightly wet conditions here in the Susquehanna Valley. Another thing that I like to look at is called the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, or the PDO. This is in a very negative phase right now, marked by very warm water off the coast of Japan and cooler water in the Gulf of Alaska and on the west coast of the United States. That tends to lead to the same storm track as a La Niña, so reinforcing that storm track of the jet stream being to our north, and we are kind of warm and wet here in the Susquehanna Valley. Bet you can guess where this is going. So let's take a look at weak La Nina years and negative PDO years. These are called analog years, and the corresponding snowfall officially in Harrisburg. Doesn't look too hot for snow lovers. Snowfall ranges from about 10 to 20 inches, including the least snowy year on record that we had just a few years ago with the same setup that we're going to see this year. So let's break it down month by month. In December, I see above average temperatures and snowfall slightly below average. Not saying much, average is only 4.5 inches in Harrisburg. I do see it being cool early in December and perhaps late in December with 1 to 2 opportunities for snow. In January, temperatures will be slightly above average to above average overall. Snowfall near to slightly below average, average being 8.5, so we have some hope here. There could be some cold shots in January with 2 to 4 opportunities for snow. For February, above average, milder, drier, maybe just 1 to 2 opportunities for snow. So our takeaways here are drought conditions may persist. That's not good news. Some cold shots over the winter, but they're not going to be locked in or prolonged. Nor'easters or big juicy coastal storms, not as likely in this setup. And our snow totals should be similar or less than last year. We had 18 inches of snow last year. So for the winter of 2024 to 2025, we are forecasting above average temperatures overall, similar to last year. Precipitation, including rain and melted snow, below average and less than last year. Snowfall, you knew this one was coming, 10 to 20 inches. It is going to be below average. Average officially in Harrisburg over 30 years is 27 inches of snow. We will provide updates for you throughout the winter in case anything changes, so stay with the News 8 Storm Team.
That does it for the News 8 Storm Team's winter weather outlook.
And remember, you can find this outlook on WGAL.com, and you can stay up on winter weather with the WGAL News 8 app.
Thanks so much for watching. Have a safe and enjoyable winter.